Hi everyone. Welcome to this tutorial on how to implement and use Canvas for Elementary in your classes. So this is the beginner to intermediate video. So I will be taking we'll be taking a little bit more time going through this, and I will give you time in between. I'll have you pause your video and go do something and then come back and we'll continue on with our video. So, to start off with, I wanted to share with you a couple of differences that you're going to see here. So, this is now the new kind of what we'll call dashboard page, although now it's the home page for Canvas for Elementary. The way this works is that I will convert your classes over to a sub account in Canvas that is set up with the features of Canvas for Elementary. And so a couple things change because of that. All of this is on the front view. So how students will see this and how you will see this and how parents will see the classroom is what really changes with this new setup. Everything behind the scenes stays the same. It doesn't change. Your classes that you have built will still be there. All the content is still there, and you will still be able to use all of that content in any of these new courses. So it's just really all about the forward facing view and how that has changed to make it a little bit more user friendly for our young learners. So let's start off by looking at the global navigation bar. You're going to see a button, a home button. This used to be called the dashboard. Now, when you click on this home button, it will always bring you to this view. And on this view, what has changed here is you'll notice that there's a different font, and this font is meant to be more of a style that students learn when they're writing. So they tried to mimic that with the font that they chose. And next, you'll notice that there are some buttons across the top. These buttons are meant to help students when they're navigating, so they don't have to click a whole bunch of buttons and get here and get there in order to get to information. It's immediately accessible as soon as they open up their Canvas page. So, for example, under the schedule, if you click on schedule, anything that is scheduled for today is going to fall underneath the schedule. So I don't have any assignments in here. If I did, those assignments would all be listed under the today view for a student. So they could quickly be able to look and see, what is it that I have due today? Or a parent would be able to look and see, what is it that I have due today? And even more important, I'm thinking, is that it will give you links to the assignment, and there's a little checkoff box. So as soon as that assignment gets submitted in Canvas, it will automatically put a check mark on that list. And so then a parent who wants to come back through at the end of the day and look and see what their student is missing or has done, they're able to quickly get a visual and see, oh, okay, my student did this, this, and this. Oh, it looks like this wasn't done yet. And so then they can click on that assignment and help their student finish it. So I think some real forward movement in terms of just helping parents to also be able to see the work that's missing and the work that needs to be done. Speaking of missing, when you look at the schedule, you'll notice that it does show the missing assignments. And these will always be indicated by this little red exclamation point. They hide the assignments so that it doesn't become one of these really big, overwhelming things for kids or for parents. But if you're like, okay, we need to tackle those missing assignments, then you can go ahead and click on here and it will bring up all of the missing assignments and you can quickly access them. Just by clicking on this, you'll be able to see what it is that you need to have done. And then to hide it again, you'll just unclick the caret. So this is, again, all accessible right here from the home screen. So you don't have to go anywhere. It's just really super quick and easy to find the work that you need to do. Something else that is, I think, going to make things a little bit easier is over here on the important dates. This used to be a to-do list, and that had every single thing on it. No longer. Now this is up to the teacher to set this up, and the teacher can determine what things fall under this important dates list over here. And it is also another easy way to access assignments. So if you just go into Canvas, this is the first thing you see in Canvas. You see, oh, okay, today I have to do this work. You can click on it. It takes you immediately to that assignment. So there is no having to click on any button to get anywhere. It's just all right here on this front home page. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's get started, and I'll walk you through some of the different pieces and the different steps needed to be able to get started by using Canvas for elementary. And I think you're going to find it's really easy. And once you get through a couple of things, it's going to make a lot of sense, and I think you'll love it. So first things first, we have this home page that students land on this, and what they refer to it as is their homeroom. But we have to attach a class to the homeroom. Now, as you look down below, you're going to see here's my subjects. You're going to see here's my published classes, and then here's unpublished classes down here. So these are what used to be the course tiles on the dashboard. Now they're just subjects, and they just fall here just essentially like they did before. But what we want to do is we want to find your class that is your SIS imported class. So the class that has the students in it, the one that came to you directly from from Skyward. So I don't have that, but I made one myself right here. So here I have this class. I'm going to go ahead and click on this. Let me show you, and then I will have you do the same thing. So you're going to click on it. It's going to open up this class, which I know has a different look to it. We want to get to our settings. All of that stuff on the back end is going to look the same. We just have to click this Manage Subject button. We're going to click on the Manage Subject, and this will bring us to what looks to be very familiar to what used to be our settings. And as we scroll on down, what we want to do is keep going until we get near the bottom. And you're going to see down here, homeroom course. Enable this as the homeroom course. You're going to want to check that box. And what that does is that's going to now make that be your homeroom piece, so that when students come into your Canvas class, this is what they're going to see. So we're going to go ahead and update that. And now what happens is you're going to notice that a lot of the features disappeared here. And that's because this doesn't become a class anymore. This is a landing spot. And you're going to create the courses that will fall underneath this in a little while. So now we have this. Again, the thing you want to do the most right now is get used to using your home button on the global navigation bar. We're going to click on that home button, and that's going to take us right back to where we were before. And now, however, you are going to notice that my homeroom class starts showing up here instead of a tile down here. And so that's the first step we need to do to get this set up. And then we'll talk more about what that looks like here in a minute. So let me walk you through this, and then I want you to pause your video and do this yourself. So you are going to find that course. You're going to click on that course. I'm going to do it because it's now up here for me, but it's the same thing. You're going to click on that course, and that is going to open up for you all of these settings parts. Okay, so you're going to go ahead, scroll to the bottom, and you are going to find homeroom course. Click and enable that, and then update your course details. Why don't you go ahead and do that? So pause the video, go in and do that, and then we'll see you back here in just a minute. Excellent. So now you should be here, and you should see your course right here. And it's probably going to be the name of that, of your SIS course, right? That kind of long word. I'm going to show you how to change that. So let's do that very next. So we're going to go ahead and set up all of the different settings you're going to want for this class. So now you have this class here. You're going to click on that, and this will take you back into the back kind of settings part to your homeroom class. So if you were to click on people, you would see all of the students in your class in here. And then the other thing you're going to need to know is this settings button here. So now that you have set up your class to be the master class, when you click on that class, you're going to want to go into settings, and then that brings this back for you. A couple of things to note. Notice how the navigation disappears in the app section. All of this stuff disappears. And that's because this class now becomes kind of a house for everything else. And so there's not a lot of clutter in here. There's not a lot of anything in here. because its purpose is to house your subjects, and its purpose is to be a place where you can post a morning announcement or some kind of announcement that you want for your kids when they first log into Canvas. So, but there's a couple things we want to change. As you scroll down, a couple of things that are the same from your other classes is the card image. And so you're going to want to pick an image from here. The other piece is that we now have this banner image. So across all of the elementary classes, you have this long banner that happens that's going to show up on all of your courses now. And so in this banner, they have made a special place where you can choose that image because you need to have a special ratio for this. They were using the card image and it was just elongating it and it was really distorting the image and it wasn't pretty to look at at all. So they've adapted that now so that we have that option to make a banner image. Now, you have a couple of choices here. You could go out if you wanted to choose your image. I'm going to use this one just because it's a little different than it was before. If you have something on your computer you want to upload, you can do that. Or you can use Unsplash, and Unsplash is already the free pictures that have free copyright and everything associated with them. So if you wanted to, let's say, type in classroom, you can type in classroom. And if you found a picture that you wanted to be on your home page, you can go ahead and click on that and you can see what it looks like. If you aren't happy with that look, you can go ahead and choose a different image. And again, we go back here to Unsplash and we can look and see if there's something that works a little bit better. Maybe you just kind of want to go with something that's just kind of intriguing with some color. All right, so now you've selected that. Go ahead and choose your card image. You can change the color. So if you want to have a special tile color, you can change that. And so I'm going to have you go ahead and let's pause the video for a minute. And let's have you go out and change your image, change both of these images, and then go ahead and select your color. Now, a little hint, and I'll have a different video somewhere in my Google tutorials, which will be coming out pretty soon, on how you can put an image in here that is used from using a Google poster, and that is going to be able to give you something that you can really make your own, and you can add, anything you want to there, including a Bitmoji or the name of your course, all sorts of things like that. But in the meantime, go ahead and select your images and we'll see you back here in a couple minutes. All right, welcome back. So I hope you found some good pictures to have as part of as part of your course settings. I shouldn't call them course; they're subjects now. It's going to take some getting used to. So underneath the Canvas for Elementary, we're in subjects. Okay, next we have some other really, I think, exciting changes to make here. So you know how when you went back to your home and there was your name up there, but it was probably the name that was associated with the Skyward name that was given to you. You can now adapt that. So what's going to happen here under name, you will see all that Skyward stuff, and then course code, you'll see all that Skyward stuff. Don't change any of that, please. But you will see friendly name. This is where you can go in and you can change it to whatever name you want. And this will then display anyone who joined your class on that home page, any of that. This is now the name that's going to show. So this is kind of going to be the background stuff and it won't show anymore. You have a friendly name. I love that they made that choice. I think that's fantastic. So why don't you go ahead and go in and find a friendly name and make that change. All right, how exciting. Now there's nothing else that we need to change on here. You want to keep pretty much everything else the same as it is right now. So you're going to go ahead, you're going to scroll down, and then really important, you want to update your course details. We'll go ahead and do that. And then this will always prompt us back to this place. Once you're back to this place, again, we get used to using the home button. We're going to go ahead and click back on our home button. And once we're here, now you're going to notice a couple of changes. So you should see that this is now changed to that friendly name instead of the Skyward name. Thank goodness. That was, I know there was some issues when trying to decipher between people's classes, even with that. Okay, now, next thing I want you to think about is when your students land into Canvas, what is it that you would like them to see? And is there something that they can see that changes on a day-to-day basis? And that's going to come out in the form of an announcement. So we're going to go ahead and click on this announcement button. And this will take you out to the place where you can create an announcement. Now, if you haven't created announcements before, these are really fantastic. It's just something that will post right to that front page, and students will be able to see it. It disappears automatically after 2 weeks. So if you don't change it, it will be gone in 2 weeks. You'll need to come in and you'll need to go in and change the settings to make it available again, or however you want to do it. I strongly suggest changing this frequently so that when kids log into Canvas, there's something new for them there. Let me give you a couple of thoughts I have. Now, these may be throwaway thoughts. I don't know. You can, but maybe it will trigger something in your mind to think of something that would be useful for your class. But I was thinking, what happens, and I'm going to head back home here for a minute. What happens if you come out here and you're in your class, your students are coming in from the bus, and you're out in the hallway because you're creating that welcoming environment by greeting the students at the door. And this might take a little longer than it has in the past because you learned some great strategies for that. So you're welcoming your students at the class. Some kids are in the classroom, some kids are out in the hallway. They come in at different waves because of the bus, that kind of thing. And so kids are coming in, you want to be out there welcoming them. However, you want, when they come into the classroom, to be like immediately engaged in something. And so, what if their task was, as soon as you come into class, go get your Chromebook and open up your Chromebook and go into Canvas, log into your Canvas account, and here's an announcement. And that announcement is a video from you telling the students what to do when they first come into class. And you can change this up on a day-to-day basis. So you might say, welcome to today's students. Today's our goals are going to be, or our learning objectives for the day are this, this, and this. And so based on that, could you come up with your own goals for the day? And you could have them pause the video and they could write down what are some learning goals that they have for the day based on what you have told them they're going to be learning. Or, I mean, you can tweak that in all sorts of different ways. But you could just have them pause the video, they have a piece of paper, and they start writing those things down. You could then have them unpause the video when they're done, and then you can tell them, okay, I want you to go in and I want you to put down your lunch count, whatever that looks like, or mark your attendance, whatever that looks like. And then, so you can give them a series of things to do where they're independently doing these tasks and activities that you need them to do to start the day anyway. You get to be out in the hall greeting your students. All your students come into class. Everybody is busy doing this welcoming activities that you have them doing independently by video. And you can go touch base with a couple of individual kids that you need to touch base with before the day even starts so that we can start our day off really well with every single student in your classroom, or whatever your tasks are. You can get your attendance done. You can get those things that are hard to fit in at the morning because you're trying to manage kids and trying to do all these other activities. You could use your Canvas homepage as one of those introductory things to do. If you don't have time to make a video, which I think you can use the studio tool, and you probably get pretty good at just kind of, winging it with different things that you can do with them. I know for some of you that's hard. You can do it. But there's also other videos. So maybe your goal for the day is to focus on your second step curriculum throughout the whole day. It's maybe being respectful. So you go out to YouTube and find a video on what does respect mean. And maybe there's just a video here on respect. And so the kids watch that video when they first come in independently. And then you have them do a little activity when they finish watching the video until everybody is in the classroom and ready to get started. So lots and lots of, I think, different creative things that you can use this tool for to really use Canvas to get your day started. So what we're going to do is let's go ahead and click again on that announcement button. And a couple of things you can do here. So you have to have a title. So if you want to put the date, you can put the date in there. And then you can do the different features of Canvas here. Now, I do want to, if you come out here and you're going to do your video, so here you can record and upload media. If you click on that and you click on the record button, first time you use it, you probably have to allow. This is using your studio tool. This quick and easy, and I'm not going to start this because it'll interfere with my already recording, but really quickly right here, you could start your recording of your video. You don't have to go anywhere else. It just is right here. You start your video, and then when you're done, you can say, yes, I would choose to accept that or retake. And then when you're done, it's right here. It's ready to go, your announcement, and the kids are ready to start the day. So it's literally maybe what you would do anyway, standing in front of them in class. You're just doing it kind of ahead of time so that they can do it independently when they come in. So there you go. That's your announcement. So why don't we go ahead and pause? Why don't you practice using that announcement, and then you can save it and you can post that announcement so you can see what that is going to look like on your homepage. And we'll go ahead and pause while you practice with that, and we'll see you back here in a few minutes. All right, welcome back. So now what you're going to see on your homeroom page is you will see not only a link to the class button, but you will see whatever it is that you posted as an announcement. And then you still see your subjects below. So speaking about subjects, let's go ahead and let's move into how do we use the subjects now within our master class. So you have a master class again, and that is essentially kind of the house for everything else that's going to reside inside of it. So you're in a home, you open the door, you go inside, and you have all your different rooms. That's kind of what your homeroom is. It's just the house, and inside is where you're going to find all of the things to do. And so the way this is going to work is we're first of all, under my subjects, we're going to go ahead and click the plus sign. And this is how we will create the different things within our Canvas course that we want our students to do. So you might be thinking about, well, I'd like to have a math course, I want an ELA course, I want a science course, kind of thinking through how you want to have the content within Canvas. Now, another thought I had, and I think you probably want to be a little careful you don't get too many of these, but what if you did a unit of study? And maybe you want to have your math, reading, science, writing, all within that unit so that all in your module, it has all the different pieces integrated right there within the unit. So you could do that as well. So let's go ahead and get this set up. So the first thing you're going to need to do is which account will this be subject to? This is really important because we need to do the sub account that we're under right now, and that's what will assign the different features of this particular class. So we are using the C4E pilot. So you really want to make sure you need to have that account selected. Now, if you click this little button, Sync Enrollments from Homeroom, every student who's in your homeroom class, which are all the students who should be in your classroom, are going to be synced into this class. So it just automatically creates it. You don't have to go and add students or anything. It's really awesome. Now, select a homeroom. I have a couple of homerooms here just because I've done a couple of different ones of these. You shouldn't. You should only have the one. And this should be whatever that Skyward Information class name that came through. That's what you'll probably see here. I named mine Test. So I'm going to make sure and click that so I make sure it goes in the right place. And then what is the subject that you want to call this? So so if you are studying, maybe it's U.S. history. Or maybe you want to get more specific, but let's go ahead and put whatever that subject is, and then you're going to go ahead and create. Once you've done that, that automatically brings you to the settings so that you can go ahead and you can make those changes to the settings. When you are finished, now this is going to look just a little bit different than it looked when you were creating your master class because you have a choice to go home. You also have a choice to go back into your subject since this is it's what used to be a course, now it's a subject. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to my subject. And as soon as I do that, you are going to notice that now you have this content that is housed within your homeroom course. So let's go ahead and get this set up and then we can move into the next part. So let's go ahead. I'm going to head back home and we'll walk through this really quickly together and then I'll give you a chance to do that. So we're back at home, and from our home, we want to go ahead and go down to subjects. And then you're going to see the plus button. Go ahead and click on that, start a new subject. And again, you're going to click, you want to make sure you click the C4E pilot Not your school, even though your school will show up there. You don't want your school. You want to make sure you get the pilot. And then sync will bring all the students into here that are in your homeroom course. Now, side note, if you want to create a differentiated subject for 5 students in your class to do, then don't click on this. And instead, you will go into the people tab when we'll go into the settings in a minute, and you'll just add those 5 people, and it will only show up under those 5 students subject list. It won't be under everybody's, just those 5. And so that's how you can kind of make specialty content just for those small group of kids within your class. And it makes it pretty easy to be able to do that. Anyway, I'm so excited. Okay, and then go ahead and put whatever the subject name it is that you want, and then click create. So why don't you go ahead, think of a subject you want to create, and let's go ahead and do that. So I'll be back in just a minute after you have time to set this up. Welcome back. Now you should notice that when you click your home button, why don't you go ahead and do that if you aren't there yet? Click your home button, and now you are going to go to my subjects, and you should see, you will see published courses, and you'll see unpublished courses. More than likely, that's going to fall under here, and it shouldn't say courses, it should say subjects. That's too bad. I guess they're probably going to fix that. Anyway, so we're going to go ahead. Let's click on that one that you just created, that subject, and it's going to open up this view. This means that this is going into this particular content. And so you're going to click here, and you're going to see different parts that are available within this subject. But let's go into settings first. We're going to click on Manage Subject, and that's going to take you, that would be what you normally would click on to get to your settings. Now, you will notice all of the pieces of your settings are back. So now you have your navigation, your apps, all of that good stuff is all back in here. Now, remember how I said in that last one, if you wanted to create a special subject for just a couple of kids in your class or by groups, you can come in here. If you're in that subject, if you click on people, you will come in here, and if you click add people, you can add students individually this way, put in their email address, and then you can add them, make sure they're a student, and you can just add those students into that class, and then only those certain students will show up in this subject, and only they will see that subject tile under their subjects. Not every student will, only the ones that are enrolled. So a really great way, I think, to use Canvas for differentiating. Okay, so here we are, and we have, let me get out of people. I'm going to have to go down here to settings, which means let me collapse this. So I will go into settings, and this brings me back. Now we're going to do the same thing that we did for your master course, where you're going to click and find your card image. You're going to pick your banner image. And again, you can put a friendly name here. Now I'm going to guess the name that you picked was probably the same as your friendly name. That's just in case some people have these individual ones come in through their SIS system in their elementaries for every single subject. So, and then go ahead and click your friendly name. So why don't you take just a minute and go ahead and do that so we can get that all set up. Now, in this case, your pictures are much more important than they were when you were choosing your master course, because these you will definitely see and your students will see. So why don't you do that? We'll be back in just a minute. All right, so welcome back. So we have now images for each of our different banners in our tile, and we have a friendly name. There isn't anything else, again, that you are going to need to change in here. You just want to go down and update your course. And now you will have updated those particular settings. There's a few other things I want to show you while we're in here. So let's go ahead and head over to the navigation. Now, this is just as it used to be under the classic Canvas view, where this was your class navigation bar, and that you were able to use to change that by moving these things in and out of here. So we're going to do the same thing with this, and this is going to show this. I'll show you in a minute how this comes into play. But I want to draw your attention to something, and that is the grades feature. So let me go. I want to go back to my subject again really quickly. And for some of you, You may not like that that grades show up here. I do encourage you strongly to start using Canvas to keep track of grades. Oh my gosh, it will make such a difference in when it comes to grading at the end of the term. Everything sinks into Skyward. It's so easy to use. Anyway, reach out to me if you want more help with that, because I think you will just be so happy to use this tool. But let's say you, right now, let's go ahead and click on grades so I can show you what this looks like. So if I click on grades, um, students can view their grade book. Right now, there's nothing there because I don't have anything in here in terms of grades. If I were to go home, you will notice that there's also a grade tab here, and this is for everything. So if I click on grades here, this is for all of my subjects that I'm enrolled in as a student. And so now things show up because I'm enrolled in other classes. And so I could click on these and I could see the class, and I'd be able to click to see the grade book for each of those classes. Let's say that you don't want to have that showing for your students. Let me show you how you're going to change that. So I'm going to go ahead and go back down to my subject. So I'm going to go back to my US history, and then I'm going to manage my subject. And I'm going to come back in here, making sure I'm under the navigation, and you see the grades. I'm going to go ahead and drag those down to the items that I want to hide from students. And so now in this particular class, there will not be the grade thing there anymore. And back when I showed you the home that showed all of the different classes of grades, let's say that PE wanted grades to show, but you don't want US history to show. As long as the US history is down here, it won't show up on that home grades pull down either. So if you don't want grades at all, you'll just want to make sure all of your subjects, you take the hide the grades tab and bring it down here, and then your students won't see those grades. It won't even be a tab there to look at. Okay, so another thing that we need to make sure and do is we need to make sure and publish this subject. This is harder to remember in the Canvas for Elementary because normally it's always kind of like right there at the front of your class. It's not, it's hidden now in the settings. So you have to just kind of remember if you ask the students to go into their subject, they're like, it's not there. Probably you just need to go into the settings and make sure you publish that. So now this will move up from unpublished courses up to the published courses. And I think that that's mostly what I think that you need to know. Everything is really just the same as it was in the traditional Canvas. Now, a couple of things, just so you know, over here, this is where if you want to import course content from another class, boom, right here. If you want to export content and you open up your traditional class, you want to export it into this class, so super easy, and it just does the exact same work that any Canvas used to do. Again, if you have questions about any of this, please reach out and ask me. Okay, I'm going to come down here. I want to make sure I save any changes that I had. Now, the apps feature, this is where, let's say that, so we have in the navigation bar, we have several things that kids, that we have put on here at district level, such as Britannica. So everybody in the district gets Britannica. Everybody in the district gets Nearpod. But let's say that you had an app that you use that you want to have your students have access to for your classes that isn't one of those district ones. You can come over here to apps, and this is where you'll enter, let's say you wanted Edpuzzle. So you could go ahead, find Edpuzzle. Now, you're going to have to get some special codes. So if you need help with this, please reach out and let me know, and I will help you get the special codes you need to be able to add this in here. But you can add this into your individual class that way. And now let's go back to subject. And speaking of all of those, so if you'll notice that this bar collapses, you want to make sure that you have that collapsed, and that just happens when you scroll if you have your cursor in the right place. So play around with that a little bit. Okay, so you'll notice now in your course or in your subject that you have a resource tab. When you click on that resource tab, this brings up all of those pieces that were in the navigation bar that we just looked at. It will also, any of the apps that you have added to your course will also appear in here, as well as there's the Britannica and the Nearpod. So this is where you can come out here and you can look and see, oh, I really don't think I want chat to be available to my students. So then all you would do is go back to manage subject, and you would go to your navigation, and you would go down here and you would find chat. Wherever it is, there it is. And then you would move it down to hide from students and then save, and that will no longer show up for your students at all. So what we have done is, let's go ahead, we'll go back to our subject here. So what we've done is we opened up our subject, went into manage subject, make sure we have it published, and then we went to the navigation bar, moved these things around to make them the way we wanted to make them, and added any apps that we wanted to add into that particular subject and save. So why don't you go back and do that, and I'll see you back here in a minute. Welcome back. Okay, so we are making such progress at setting up our courses to be just the way that we want them to be, and I should say subjects. This is going to be tough. I've got years of used to saying courses. Okay, so here we are in our subject, and we are on our home. When you're on your home within your subject, you also have a place for an announcement. So let's say that we're studying U.S. history, and you have a particular topic that you're going to cover for the day. So you ask everyone to go ahead and open up their U.S. history tab. You could potentially have a video here that is a video of something that you're about to talk about as a subject. Or maybe it's a little bit of background information. You want to make sure all your students have that bit of background information. They can come in, they can listen to the video. You could have a Nearpod here, and you could ask them, you could have a Nearpod and you could have it open to the student collaboration board so that you could have a question posted in terms of, hey, what do you know about Mount Rushmore? And then you could have students start posting what they know about Mount Rushmore. And that could be just a little introductory into the topic that you're about to talk about. So it's easy to add a Nearpod right here into this. You can have a Nearpod with just that one slide, and then it's collaborative, interactive with students, and they all see it live, what other students are posting in here. So again, just a way that you could use this homepage within here. Now, within here, you also have modules. So you can click on modules. This opens up the module page. Let me move my picture out of the way. This opens up the module page just like it did in the traditional Canvas, except you're doing it right within the subject. So again, they're trying to make it as user-friendly as possible. So create a new module, you would click here. Let's go back just for a minute. Let's go back to manage subject. Now you'll notice you have all of these pieces over here as well. So you have your modules. If you, moved around on me. So if you want to go back and you want to have like, oh, I like the view the other way better where I don't have the other stuff in there. I just want to go back to the way I know. You can easily just click that manage my subject, and you can come back, and this is behind the scenes. It's exactly like it always was. This is where you could import things exactly the way they were from your other class. This is where you can create assignments exactly as they were like your other class. So speaking of creating assignments, I want to create one right now because I want to show you something. So let's go ahead and head out to assignments. And I'm going to add a new assignment. Now, once you add these assignments, just a little caveat here. So when you add these assignments, they will automatically post to that schedule piece. They will, and then I'll show you how to make them appear on the important dates if you want to have them appear over there. If you want them to fall under the module, you have to create the module. You have to move that assignment into the module if you want it to show up there. Otherwise, it won't show up there. The only way the students would be able to access it is through going to their schedule or on that important date. Okay, so we're going to have our assignment. Let's just call this a test assignment. And what I am going to do is I want to show you, we have a new tool in Canvas, and everybody's been asking for this. What if I have a PDF? I want the kids to be able to do that online in Canvas, and I want them to be able to edit things in Canvas. Now you can. All right, so what we're going to do is just put a title on and then scroll all the way down here to your submission type. On your submission type, you want to make sure you select online. And you will notice here is a student annotation. When you click on this student annotation, now it asks you to upload whatever it is. So you have your course files, you have your other files. I don't really have much on here, but I'm going to use this timesheet because pretty much anything works. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and open that up. And now it shows me I was successful. I can limit the number of attempts I want or not. And then you can choose all the different things that you normally have with your assignments. Now, really important, when you get to the bottom of this, notice there is now a new line here that says mark as important date and show on the homeroom sidebar. If I click that, whoops, what am I missing? What am I missing? Let's see, student upload, I may have to save it first. Let's go ahead and save and publish first. I hadn't noticed that before. So we'll go ahead and save it first. And then let's go back to edit and see if we can do it there. I must have done something wrong. Maybe, I think I need I need a date. Can't really, I'm glad I made this mistake because probably somebody else would too. You have to have a due date in order for it to post an important date. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to post it for today, September 3rd, because then we'll be able to see it on the schedule. So we're going to go ahead and now we have that posted. Now we can click it. So now I want this to show up on that sidebar because I want students to be able to see it or access it that way. I'm going to go ahead and save. Okay, and now I have this assignment. Now, I do want to show you what this looks like from a student view because this is going to show you what that annotation tool looks like. So I'm going to go ahead and click on student view. And notice how it automatically will open up anything you put in here as an annotation. And now it gives you annotation tools. With these tools, you will be able to go into the document that you attached and you'll be able to edit. So here's a text box. So I want to put a text box in here. Voila. So cool, huh? I want to highlight. So I can go ahead and I can highlight. Oops. Wow, that's a lot of highlighting. Okay, I can add different things. So if I wanted to add a comment, I could put a comment button and I could add a comment in there. I could do a strike through. If I wanted to go ahead and just do some writing, let's say I was putting in an answer to a math problem, I can do that. So, and then I'll just go ahead and accept it, or I can come back and delete it later. So they give you lots of different options. Here's that comment box from when I did that little drop. So a student could leave a comment and say, I don't understand. And all of this is now going to be submitted on this document to you as the teacher. So I'm going to go ahead and as the student, I'm going to submit my assignment. Yay! Now, remember that we had on there that they could have multiple attempts. So here's the multiple attempts. Now, one thing, excuse me, one thing that didn't show up because this assignment automatically opens up within Canvas. On a normal assignment, it used to be that the kids would have to click on the submit assignment button, which was ridiculous because they weren't done with it. It was very confusing. Now there's a button up here that will say start assignment. And then they can submit it at the bottom when they're all done. So, okay, I'm going to go ahead and leave my student view. Let's go back, and I want you to practice this if you would like. So you're going to go into, let's go all the way back. So what you're going to do is from here, you're going to go ahead and go to Manage Subject. And then you are going to come down to your assignments if you want to add an assignment, or if you want to add it in your rubric, add an assignment. Make sure you put the assignment name in there. Scroll down, and your submission type is going to be online, and you're going to add in a student annotation document. Click on upload, and then you can upload this. So you might have to save it one way or another, or wherever you have that PDF is where you should be able to upload it from. And then make sure you put the date in here. When's the due date? And then you can click this as mark as an important date, save, and publish that assignment. So why don't you go ahead and give that a try? And we'll be back here in a few minutes. All right, I hope you were successful with that. Such a great new tool. Now, next, here we are back at our subject. I want to show you now what has happened since we have done this. So I'm going to go ahead and click on my schedule. And when I click on my schedule, here is today. And it really should say what the assignment is. Maybe if I was in student view, let me go ahead and go in there. Okay, so here I have today, and notice that that for today I have completed one item because I completed that one and I submitted my assignment. If I click on that drop down arrow, now it's going to show me there's the box that shows it's completed. I could click on this to reopen it again and it shows it was submitted. So for a parent, if a parent wants to come in and see what was turned in or even be able to go look at the work, they're totally able to. Now this is if they're looking over their kid's shoulder. As an observer, they will have some of the options to do this, not the same, but it's a lot easier for them as well. Okay, so that's what it looks like on the calendar view. Now, if I go back home, and if you will recall, on our home view, we had this important state. Now you'll notice that here is also in my US history, there's that assignment. So now it falls under that important dates, and that's managed by me as the teacher. And now it will show up under my students as well as me. So if a student, again, they're going to log into Canvas, this is the first thing they're going to see. And so if you get them into Canvas and say, I want you to go in and I want you to access that PDF form I put in there, you just tell them, go into US history test, click, and they're there immediately. They don't have to go into anything to be able to access this. So those are really some of the big important changes that have happened with Canvas for elementary and how you would go about adding subjects, how you can go about using the new features, but also then using all of the same features that you are used to using. I hope that was helpful. I'm sure I missed some things, so please reach out to me for questions. And if you have found new things or have some great ideas, I'm going to try and figure out a way that we can put together a communication between all the teachers who are piloting this so that we can stay in contact with what's happening and be able to help each other out with this too. Again, the 3 dots on your homepage, if you want to go back to Classic View, click on those. That will take you back to the Classic View. The difference is when I open that US history course, even in Classic View, it is still going to show it created the way it was created because it was created under that sub account that had those features for the Canvas for Elementary. All right, thank you so much and good luck. And thank you for trying this out. I really think you're going to love it. All right, again, reach out if you have questions. Bye-bye.